It's chilling video of two University of Idaho students, hours before they were brutally murdered. Kaylee Gonzalez in the white hoodie and her friend, Madison Morgan, were at a popular food truck near the campus.
I would like the carbonara.
One man appears to be watching them. The time 1:30 a.m. After ordering, Maddie sees a friend and embraces him. When their food comes, Kaylee takes a short video to post on social media, and they walk off together. Look, the man gestures towards them, and then heads in the same direction. It's believed police know who he is. FBI also released the footage. From another angle, a neighbor's porch camera captures a car creeping by. Once, then again, circling, almost like someone was mapping out every move of the night. Hours later, investigators step inside the house, and what they find shocks even seasoned agents. Bloodstains trailing from the balcony, chaos in the room, signs of a struggle, proof that this was no random act, but a carefully planned attack. And yet, here's what chills the most in this same footage. There is one small detail, something almost invisible, that could flip the entire case upside down. I'll show you exactly what it is, but once you see it, you'll never think of this story the same way again. This story begins in a small but peaceful town in America, Moscow, Idaho, a city that people always connected with safety, university life, and the warmth of a small community culture. But the morning of November 13th, 2022, tied this town's name forever with fear and mystery. That night, near the University of Idaho, inside a rented house, four young friends, Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Morgan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, were living their everyday college lives. They were ordinary students. Classes, friendships, dinners, little plans, and all the dreams that every young person carries. But the greatest tragedy of life is this: we rarely know which moment will turn out to be our last. That same night, Kaylee and Madison were seen downtown at a food truck. They were laughing, buying food, chatting casually with others around them. The videos exist, and in them there is no fear, no worry, just normal happiness. But the haunting question remains: was that smile on their faces their last smile? It's the kind of question that still sends chills through anyone who hears it. Meanwhile, on the streets of that town, a white Hyundai Elantra kept circling the same neighborhood. Not once, not twice, but multiple times. In the silence of the night, that car moved around as if someone was rehearsing the final steps of a plan. Later, this car was connected to Bryan Kohberger, but at that time, no one gave it the attention it truly deserved. Was it just a lost car? Or was it a predator mapping out its prey? Between roughly 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m., everything happened that no one has ever been able to fully comprehend. The killer entered the house through the sliding glass door. The rooms, which on normal days were filled with laughter and conversation, that night became a scene of terror and fear. Investigations revealed that Kaylee and Madison were likely in bed when the attack happened. Perhaps they were asleep, but Xana Kernodle, she was awake. Forensic evidence shows she tried to fight back. The marks of her final resistance still remain at the crime scene. The question is, when she heard the noise, the footsteps, the sound of the door opening, did she already know the end was near? And Ethan Chapin, Xana's closest friend, He too became a victim of this horror. But the real fear was not only in the murder of 4 innocent lives. The real fear was this: in such a quiet town, in such a good community, someone could enter a house like that and then disappear without anyone knowing. Police were alerted. In the morning, after a roommate made a call, she had sensed something was wrong. Phone calls were going unanswered. Doors were shut. When police arrived, the scene shook everyone to the core. Bloodstains, marks on the walls, rooms torn apart. A sight that stole the sleep of even the strongest investigators. Step by step, the investigation started connecting the dots. Footage of the car, DNA evidence, and most important, the knife sheath found inside the room. Forensic testing confirmed Bryan Kohberger's DNA on that sheath. Then came the cell phone records. Kohberger's phone went off that night, exactly during the time the murders took place. And could that really be a coincidence? Or was it the most carefully planned part of all? This story is not just about blood and DNA. This is a story of questions. If the killer was so careful, why did he leave the sheath behind? Why did he turn off his phone, but later return to the crime scene area again and again? Was his goal only to kill, or was it something even darker? The FBI and police examined every neighborhood camera. The white Hyundai Elantra was captured from multiple angles. That car, that shadow, that constant presence, like an invisible net, tightening slowly. And this leads to another chilling question. If so much surveillance was there, if so many clues were pointing out, then why did it take so long to reach the truth? Kaylee and Madison's final moments may have been filled with joy, but that joy turned into darkness only minutes later, a darkness that still haunts their families. Xana and Ethan's story was no different. Young lives, filled with dreams, cut short in one night. But the most chilling part is this: their killer went on with life afterward, as if nothing had happened. University classes, daily routines, as if ending 4 lives, carried no weight at all. And that is what forces every heart to ask, how safe are we really? The people we see, the ones we sit next to in class, the ones we assume are just normal human beings. Could one of them actually be a predator in disguise? This is the first glimpse into the Idaho murders, a story not just of a blood-stained crime scene, but of the silent terror that spread over the entire town of Moscow. But this is only the beginning, because as more evidence surfaced, the story became even more tangled. The car, the DNA, the phone records, everything pointed to the killer. But there was also something else. Something that left investigators stunned. A detail that didn't make the story a straight line, but a circle. Would you want to know what that detail was? The crime scene began to emerge with the light of morning, but the silence of truth had not yet been broken. Moscow, Idaho police, along with the Idaho State Police forensic team, immediately began collecting evidence from the house. The inside of the home, especially the balcony and living room, came under intense examination. Bloodstains marked the floors and even the walls. Furniture was scattered. Windows and doors were partly open. The sliding glass door, the very entry point, its glass shattered, shards scattered across the floor. Clear signs that force had been used to enter. DNA experts tested the knife sheath found inside one of the rooms. That sheath carried a partial DNA match to Bryan Kohberger. Not a complete profile, but enough similarity to raise suspicion. Enough to make him the prime target of the investigation. Then came the phone records. They revealed something chilling. Kohberger's phone was switched off during the very hours of the murders, and only after the killings did it reappear on the network. That silence, and that sudden return, left a haunting question. Did he shut it off deliberately to avoid surveillance? Or was it a calculated attempt to vanish in plain sight? Meanwhile, neighbors' surveillance and porch cameras told another part of the story. The white Hyundai Elantra circled the neighborhood again and again, captured from different angles. At one point, the footage suggested the car slowed, as if someone inside was trying to read license plates or study the area carefully. The images were blurry, indistinct, but forensic video experts used motion magnification, enhancing frames, pulling shadows from darkness, reconstructing the path of the car. Inside the home, Xana Kernodle's final resistance remained carved into the evidence. Scratches, bruises, blood traces along the floor. She had fought. She had tried. And maybe, just maybe, her struggle delayed the killer, forcing him to retreat more quickly. But the question lingers. When she heard the sounds, the footsteps, the door creaking open, did she already know that the end was near? Eventually, Bryan Kohberger was arrested, and the case moved into court. During hearings, prosecutors laid out their case piece by piece. The video surveillance, the DNA match, the phone records, the eyewitness statements. They argued these weren't fragments, but a connected chain of evidence pointing only one way. They highlighted the car's suspicious behavior, circling repeatedly, the phone going dark at the exact moment of the killings, and most of all, the knife sheath carrying DNA that tied everything together. The defense, however, pushed back. They claimed a phone being switched off is not unusual, that surveillance footage enhanced by technology could be questioned, and that the DNA profile was only partial. But prosecutors countered. The timeline was too precise to be coincidence, the footage too consistent, the DNA too damning. Video forensic specialists testified how the Hyundai was captured from multiple angles, how shadows revealed movements, how the car returned near the house even after the killings. These weren't just weak clues. They were threads of a chilling pattern. As evidence piled up, families came forward. Their voices filled the courtroom and the airwaves with grief and pain. Parents and friends asked, if only someone had noticed Kaylee and Madison hadn't come home. If only that white car had been reported sooner. If surveillance was stronger, could they have been saved? These questions had no simple answers. Yet even as the case pressed forward, one element still unsettled investigators. The phone records, the enhanced footage, the blurred shadows that, when magnified, revealed movement near the porch. Faint steps, a suggestion of presence. This was the detail that bent the story into a circle, evidence that seemed to close in tighter and tighter, yet still left a hollow space at its center. The why. Was this hatred, obsession, or something darker? A need to control, to plan, to execute without reason. And here the story pauses, because while the court handled facts, families still live with questions. The motive, the purpose, the unanswered details that keep the case alive in whispers and shadows. If this story held you, if you want the next part, where I will reveal how the trial unfolded, what motive prosecutors believe, and the details that could change everything, leave a comment for part 2. Because once you hear it, you'll never see this case the same way again.